Raiders, patch 1.3 is upon us, and that means loads of sweeping changes, but more importantly, a new legendary weapon. We've killed the matriarch, found the blueprint, crafted the weapon, and put it through its paces. Boy oh boy, do we have something to talk about. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and today, let's take a look under the hood at patch 1.3 in Arc Raiders. Guys, our plan was to get this video to you way sooner, but NA servers didn't have access to the Matriarch map modifier until over 12 hours after patch 1.3 went live. From that point on, it was a slugfest to get the blueprint, craft the weapon, and test it out to bring you the best content possible, but we're here and we're ready to crack on. Easily the most exciting thing about patch 1.3 is the introduction of the Aphelion, or more accurately, the team fixing the drop rate of the Aphelion, which up until this point wasn't dropping in the game. The blueprint can be found when looting the core of the Matriarch, the boss we talk about at length in one of our recent guide videos. So if you haven't killed a Matriarch, or you're struggling to do so, give that a watch, because we dive into tips, tricks, and strategies for fighting off the boss and other enemy raiders looking to steal your loot. Once you obtain the blueprint, you'll need to craft the weapon, which costs 1 Matriarch reactor, which drops from the various parts of the Matriarch, 3 magnetic accelerators, and 3 complex gun parts. If you have a level 3 refiner, you're able to craft magnetic accelerators, and if you're sitting on a stockpile of seeds, you'll be able to purchase complex gun parts from Celeste. You'll also need to have a level 3 gunsmith to craft the weapon. We have another great video helping you get through all of your bench upgrades quickly, so check that out if you're still working towards completing those. So let's craft the weapon and take a closer look at its stats. On paper, the Aphelion has an interesting spread of statistics. It's got lower than average damage, an extremely low fire rate, an above average range, near perfect stability, average agility, and poor stealth. Just like the other legendary weapons, it fires energy clips, with each magazine holding 10 rounds. Considering this weapon fires in 2-round bursts, that means you get 5 shots off before you need to reload. It's also worth pointing out that the weapon has strong arc armor penetration and can be equipped with an underbarrel mod and a stock mod. By comparison, the weapon is similar to the Jupiter on paper, with the Jupiter dealing significantly more damage, but the Aphelion having a supposed advantage in stealth. You also have to factor in those 2 mods, which are going to supercharge the Aphelion's stability, giving you more control over its recoil, ADS, and dispersion based on the mods you have equipped. That being said, the Aphelion and the Jupiter are really nothing alike, and to see that in action, we need to jump into the practice range. The Aphelion, similar to the Jupiter, is a precision weapon, but it actually compares most closely to the Arpeggio, and it feels more like firing a standard gun than an experimental one. It's accurate at practically every range, but you do have to contend with its decent recoil, which pulls the gun straight up. Again, you can correct this with mods. It does also take a full second to zero in the targeting reticle once you aim down the sight. As far as its damage is concerned, we can see pretty clearly that the weapon is not efficient at cracking player shields. When aiming at the body, it takes 3 shots to crack a light shield, it takes the same 3 shots to crack a medium shield, and it took 4 shots to crack a heavy shield. What's strange is that the weapon actually performed worse when shooting at a shielded enemy's head, which I think speaks to some inconsistencies with the way damage is calculated on the back end with crit spots. When shooting at a drone dummy, the Aphelion melts the thrusters in just 1 shot, so long as both rounds hit the target. If you shoot the body of the drone, both thrusters pop off in 2 shots. Like I mentioned earlier, this weapon is also incredibly accurate, and so long as you can tame that bit of kick from the recoil, you can use this weapon as a precision tool, capable of hitting targets from medium or even long distances away based on your skill. There doesn't appear to be any damage drop-off, and compared to other guns in the game, the Aphelion is about as close to a hit scan weapon as you're going to find, besides the Jupiter, of course. Now, shooting targets in a range is one thing, but if we want to really test out the Aphelion, we need to bring it into a raid topside. We tested this thing against a few different enemies, and bottom line, it's pretty mid. What it excels at is stripping armor off of arc enemies such as the Surveyor and the Leaper. It can quickly cut through plating, exposing weak spots, but in terms of finishing off an enemy, it's lacking and takes 1 too many hits to get the job done efficiently. Running with a squad of 3, all with Aphelions, was fun, but it's clear that if we were running solo, using the weapon to try and kill arcs, well, sadly, there'd be more efficient methods of destruction. Aphelion deals with smaller enemies best, easily killing them in 1 to 2 shots depending on your accuracy, but where we really start to feel it fall behind is on those larger enemies such as Rocketeers and Leapers. Given that our whole squad was using the legendary weapon, you'd think it would melt everything, and it does, just not as fast as you'd want. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, would you rather use this weapon or the Jupiter? And I think for now, at the time of making this video, the answer is the Jupiter. On the PvP side of things, the weapon is effective, but only in the right circumstances. When getting the jump on enemy players, it has enough firepower to crack a shield and drop a body, but only if you're proactive. As a reactive weapon, you're going to lose more fights than you win, mainly because of the limited magazine and below average fire rate. Bottom line, it works, but I wouldn't say it's going to reshape PvP combat in Arc Raiders. Truly, I think the weapon design is interesting, but it's not doing anything significantly better than the Jupiter, which puts it in a weird spot. In our opinion, these legendary weapons should all have a unique characteristic or design that makes them so different that it's impossible to compare them to one another. That would be interesting, but at this point, the Aphelion just feels like the little cousin to a much cooler, much more capable weapon, the Jupiter. In conjunction with the new legendary weapon, patch 1.3 dropped, and this feels like the most significant balance passes the team has taken to the game so far, starting with the Venator. It's no secret this has been the min-maxer's favorite weapon, and the team is taking its first steps to addressing that, reducing the fire rate gained from upgrades from 22, 44, and 60% down to 13, 26, and 40%. The weapon's weight has also been increased to 5. We personally don't think this is enough, and find the ammo efficiency to be one of the biggest problems. Firing 2 shots but only consuming 1 round is inconsistent with every other weapon that fires in bursts. Another massive change hit the Hull Cracker, and after testing this on the Matriarch, this certainly feels more like a nerf than a rebalance. Overall, the team says they've rebalanced explosive damage against arcs for a more consistent experience, which really equates to a tighter AoE, so that a round doesn't necessarily deal damage to multiple instances of the same enemy because of its various parts. Explosions on smaller enemies are largely unaffected, while explosions on larger enemies deal significantly less damage. The team also rebalanced the cost of buying launcher ammo, which used to cost 600 coins per round and now costs 750 coins per round, but the team did technically nerf the cost to craft ammunition. Before, it would cost 4 metal parts and 1 explosive compound. Now it costs 1 arc motion core and 2 crude explosives. The team also made some big changes to the new Deadline mine, increasing its buy value from 8,100 to 15,000, making it more expensive to purchase from a vendor, while nerfing his stock from 3 to 1, and also juicing its crafting costs, increasing the explosive compound needed from 2 to 3, and then changing out the synthetic fuel for 2 arc circuitry. The only other notable change outside of a number of bug fixes is their continued pursuit to prevent players from getting into locked rooms via barricades and other methods, but there are already videos circulating out there on how to get around those fixes. Of course, there are a few more bullets that you can check out yourself, but for the most part, those are the major changes as part of the 1.3 patch. So there you have it, the Aphelion, a new legendary weapon, a number of balance changes, and much more on the horizon for Arc Raiders. As always, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, and consider subscribing. We'll have more Arc Raiders in your feed soon, so keep it right here and never miss a thing. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching. Play on.